Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Rob Wallin back here again, Matt's older brother. Due to the amount of people that we had respond to the large code video, some people asked me if I could do a quick little walk around of the Large Rewind and give my thoughts on that. I've been paddling that boat for about a year now. It's my primary boat. I pretty much paddle it on like 95% of the rivers I paddle. I also had some input in the design or final design of the Large Rewind. I was able to paddle the prototype version for about a month and then provide Snowy with some input as a larger paddler. So, I have some investment in this boat, and I'm going to be probably a little biased about it because honestly, like, it's the perfect boat for me, in my opinion. Like, if I had to only have one boat, this would be the boat that I would choose to paddle. So anyways, we'll go ahead and I'll go down here and we can walk around the boat and then we can talk about it afterwards. Okay, so I got the Large Rewind. I got sitting on the stand here so we can talk about it. I'm just gonna go over some quick specs here. I'll put them up here on this wall here. But it's got nice lines on it. Really balanced stern. It's one of the most balanced half-slice sterns I've paddled, and I've paddled a lot of them over the years. Once you get this thing vertical, it really wants to hang out. You can get it to stall really nice. One of the things I love about this boat. Coming up to the front end. Got a pretty good amount of bow rocker on this boat. Not as big as some of the other boats that are out there, but it is pretty good. We'll measure that in a bit here, but it does pretty well, I think, for what it is. It's got a considerable amount more than like the Ripper does. Just want to talk about, as far as if you're a heavier paddler in this boat, one of the things that can make a huge difference in this boat is moving the seat around. I move the seat around in this boat constantly, and you can see I've got it marked here, kind of where I have the different modes I put it in. And if I'm paddling harder whitewater, I move the seat up forward to where this line is here. I line this line up I've got here and move the seat up here forward. Just that little bit, there's probably only like about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches of play there. Makes a huge difference. It changes the dynamic of this boat considerably. So if you've been having trouble with this boat, stern squirting or something like that, move the seat around in it because it makes a big difference. Like, you would be surprised how much it changes the dynamic of the boat, moving it just that little bit. I said I have 3 modes I kind of run it in. I have the forward one up here is what I run when I'm running harder whitewater creeks and stuff. The middle one's kind of just a middle of the road. It gives me a little bit more play, but it's not quite as sporty. And then when I have it back here, this is like my party mode, and I can almost get this 3/4 of the way vertical, probably in flat water without any type of current at this back mode here. So it makes a huge difference, going from just that like 1.5 inches. If I'm like that, I can't hardly get the thing vertical at all in flat water, but just moving it back just a little bit, I can get it almost 3/4 of the way vertical in flat water with no current. So it makes a huge difference in how the boat handles and how it, how it controls for stuff. So definitely, if you haven't already, try moving your seat around because it does make a big difference. As I showed you guys in the large code video, I mod all my boats, my Dagger boats. I have a spot for my wrench here, and then I have a screwdriver down there as well, so I can move this stuff on the fly while I'm on the river. Okay, so checking out some of the features of the outfitting in this boat. It has standard contour ergo outfitting that Dagger puts out. But the one thing I love is that they changed the outfitting in this from the Axiom. They actually put the creek seat in this with the step out rotomolded pillar in there, which is a great safety feature compared to the Axiom where you had the foam pillar in there. The other thing that's great about the creek seat is that once you get it set, it does not move around any. I had problems as a larger paddler with the Axiom seat, which is the playboat seat that Dagger has. It's similar. it has the one adjustment in the back, and you can push down on it and slide it around. The problem with that is that if you're a bigger paddler, I don't know if it's just the way that the nut is designed on it, but it tends to put pressure on the nut. And like, I'd have the seat forward in it, and I'd go to throw a stern squirt, and that thing would just, I'd get vertical, and the seat would want to slide back and, you know, go back to where I didn't want it to be at. So it was moving around on me. It shouldn't have been. This seat does not move, which is great. The other great thing about that is that they changed the way that this molded seat sliding adapter in here works. You know, it's no longer welded to the bottom of the boat like it was in the Axiom, and that was a problem where it would cause some of the boats to break at the weld points, and then you have a hole in the bottom of your hull. So you have four grab handles / security loops on this boat. You know, the one back here is a decent size. I kind of wish that a lot of these were a little bit bigger for your hands. You know, if you got big hands like I do, some of them a little tight to get stuff through. Like even some of the locks I've got, it's hard to get the locks through there if you want to lock it to the top of your car. But you know, nice metal grab handles, and you got 4 points that you can hook stuff onto if you got a boat pinned or whatever. But yeah, my only small gripe, but if you got bigger hands, it doesn't always fit super great in there. This one's a little bit better than the other ones on here, the end ones, but these are a little tight. I've got the boat flipped over now, so we can look at the hull of the Large Rewind. You can see it's got a really defined edge on this, and it's got the nice rails, but then it has a nice edge that goes off the side here. So nice planning hole surface on the bottom with that defined rail, and then the edge on the side. Makes this boat a little harder to roll than like the Code or some of the other ones out there, but this thing really, if you want to line up and go, it's like a tractor beam. It locks in. You got that edge. You can engage. You can go and get the boat where you need it to. And I love that about planning hull boats. Whereas, you know, some of the displacement hull, you're kind of loose and all over the place. This thing, I feel like, you know, you gauge that edge, it's going to go. Not quite as extreme as the edge on the Ripper, but this thing does the job, and I really love the way that the hull is on this boat. That comes up to about, I don't know, right here is where the chine comes up on the bow. That's about 10 inches from the bow, which when you're sitting in the boat, you know, basically that's about the only part that's sticking out of the water. So you have the whole front end of the boat basically has an edge on it where you can engage that. Comes all the way back pretty much to the stern. I think it starts petering out about maybe 6 inches, maybe 8 inches from the stern there, tip of the stern. So you have that edge all the way back, which is great for surfing. This is just a great surfing boat. You know, the Axiom was a great surfing boat on like bigger, glassier, longer waves. But the problem I had was, you know, you get in some shorter, steeper waves in the Axiom and it wants to purl on you because it doesn't have that bow rocker. This thing is great because it's got that little bit of extra bow rocker, and you know, you can surf those smaller, steeper waves without purling and dipping the nose in, which I love. All right, let's take a few measurements here so we can kind of compare. So front bow rocker, looks like in the dead center there, it's about 13 inches of bow rocker, which is pretty good for one of these half slices. Come back around the rear. Looks like we got about 11 inches exactly of tail rocker, stern rocker. So that's pretty good. You know, if you look at this boat from the side, as you can see, there's not a whole lot of surface area that's actually touching the ground. You got good rocker, progressive rocker in the back and in the front. Maybe not so extreme, you know, it's like compared to some of the Waka boats that are out there, but it's pretty good for a half slice. Just wanted to get one quick measurement I forgot. The tip of the stern is about 5 inches, maybe like 5.5 inches wide. So final thoughts on the Large Rewind. You know, I've paddled a lot of half slice boats throughout the years, and you know, like I said, I'm a little bit biased on this boat, but you know, for me personally, I think this is the best all-around half slice boat that I could put myself in. out of all the ones I've paddled in at least the last 10 years. For me, I think part about what makes this boat special is the fact that, they reached out and they gave me the opportunity to provide some input as a larger paddler. It's one of those things where I think, a lot of companies, they kind of overlook the fact that most large paddlers are going to weigh more than 225 pounds, and they have, their athletes that are sponsor athletes that are paddling larges. These guys weigh like 180 pounds. It's not really a large paddler that's paddling that boat. It's a medium-sized paddler that's paddling a large boat. So I was happy to be able to provide that input, and get some large paddler insight in that design process. And I think it helped. I think that the larger guys and gals out there are going to appreciate that, compared to what the boat maybe could have been. So to kind of sum it all up, I think Dagger did a great job on this boat. It's a great boat for someone, a large paddler. It does everything pretty darn well. It may not be the best at everything, but it does everything all around very, very well, I think. Like I said before, if I was only going to be allowed to have one boat in my quiver, and that was the only boat I was allowed to paddle, the Large Rewind would be it for me. Like, I could be perfectly content running this boat pretty much on most of the stuff I paddle, So I think it's a home run as far as like being a great all-around boat. It's fast, it surfs well, it gets vertical pretty easy. It's a great all-around boat. So if you guys have any questions, like I said, I paddle a lot of these boats, different types of half slices. I can kind of, if you have questions, get back with me. I can kind of tell you how this boat compares to them. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of these boats that I can do a walk around and show you the differences between them like my brother does. But, I can definitely give you my opinion of them and kind of how they feel for someone my size, and I paddle, like I said, I paddled a lot of them over the years, going all the way back to the mid 90s. So hit me up, let me know. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and we can continue to do some more, as new boats come out, or I can even go back and do some older ones if I can get my hands on them. So like and subscribe to Matt Wallin Kayaking. Later.